Hello, Washington. I'm your host, Corey, with the Washington Civil Rights Association. And as many of you know by now, if you're seeing my face, it means that I'm likely bringing you bad news, and I'm sorry for that. The 2023 legislative session is kicking off today, Tuesday, January 10th, with the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to bills. The legislature is also not wasting any time with getting some of these items into committee hearings as early as this Thursday, the 12th at 8 a.m. in the Senate Law and Justice Committee. So let's take a quick walk through the bills that have been put forward so far. We'll start by ripping off the Band-Aid and get straight into the ugly. First, the assault weapons ban is back for the 10th year in a row now. Firearms purchase permitting and training requirements are being proposed. There's two forms that are being introduced. One is very similar to Oregon Measure 114, which requires permitting and training, including live fire training, for all firearms, with the other being less terrible, but don't get me wrong, it's still terrible, which would only require training, again, including live fire training, for the purchase of pistols and semi-auto rifles only, with none of the license requirements. Next, after 6 failed attempts, state preemption, the removal of state preemption is back, and state that would potentially make you a criminal as you travel from one location to another in the state, as cities and municipalities could make their own laws, counties as well, relating to firearms. There's also additional open carry bans being proposed in public parks and hospitals. And lastly, there is industry liability being proposed, which would allow victims of criminals to, instead of taking it out on the criminal, take it out on gun manufacturers, gun shops, and sue them out of existence for the act of that criminal. Just bad juju. Moving on, we'll go into the bad, depending on your feelings on this topic. There are updates being proposed to the previously passed waiver of firearms rights. And then last but not least, the good. There are still a couple of good things being proposed. These are bills that would actually do some good for public safety by either deterring criminal action or making sure criminals are held accountable for their actions. And that is enhancements to sentencing that would disallow violent offenders who used firearms to be eligible for earning early release credits, so they actually have to serve their sentence. And then there's also a bill regarding firearm theft, which would make it a Class B felony. So those are both things that are actually good, that are being proposed. And so that really wraps things up for the immediate moment. I would encourage you all to write your representatives, write to the committees that are hearing these bills, and even testify in a committee meeting if you're so inclined. And I would also encourage you to get plugged in with us to stay up to date as we move through this legislative session. It's going to be busy, it's going to be hectic, and there's going to be a lot going on. We're on all of the social networks, and our website, wacivil.rights.org, is filled with tons of great information and data. Join our mailing list, get email. You can hook up with us on Facebook or join the conversation on Discord if you want all of the latest information pushed out to you. And those links are down in the description. Lastly, I'd encourage you all to head over to William Kirk of Washington Gun Law's YouTube channel. Again, linked in the description below. Check that out. I encourage you to give it a subscribe and a follow. He's doing amazing work on getting information out there on all sorts of gun rights topics around the state and federally that often step outside of our scope as an organization. He really is a great resource. And I think that really wraps things up for this video. I look forward to seeing you all again and working with you throughout this legislative session as we fight to protect our rights. Take care.